Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to Real Estate Investing. In today's episode, you'll learn about flipping versus renting houses and which is better. You decide. My name is Andrew Finney. Please consider me your real estate geek. I'm always here to help. If you need help finding a top agent where you live, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hi, my contact info is below. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. So let's go ahead and get into this. How are we going to decide if flipping a house or renting a house is going to be best for you, and how are you going to make that decision within yourselves and within your comfort level? Well, let's go ahead and look at it. We're going to take a look at pros and cons. We're going to talk about what flipping is and what it's not. We're going to take a look at what renting is and what it's not, and different goals and considerations to have on the financial agenda here. Now, before I begin, I am not a financial planner or a tax professional. If you have any questions about financial planning or tax ramifications from renting a property or flipping a property, please contact the qualified professional to do that. So let's go ahead and get into, should I flip houses or should I rent them instead? Here's the deal. Both of them have trade-offs, and the first important thing is to understand is that if you start thinking of rental property kind of like a passive income, in other words, a passive income is something that you're going to get a check in the mail all the time. You're going to have money deposited into your account automatically, and you're probably not going to have to do too much work per se to get that money, right? Whereas active income is like your job. So the job that you have right now, like a 9-to-5 job or whatever the case may be, you're actively working in exchange for cash. So active income requires day-to-day involvement, day in, day out, in order to generate the money. Eventually, we all aspire to retire, and in the process of doing that, we need passive income. We need that income that's going to be there for us whenever we retire, coming in when we're not actively working. So here's two questions you need to ask yourself right up front. Number one, do you have enough money to retire now? The second question is, if not, do you want to stay in your career field or switch fields to like real estate investing, flipping, or being a landlord? You need to ask yourself those two questions. Remember those two questions, because I'm going to come back up on them a little bit later in this video. So the first thing about understanding what flipping is not. Flipping is not investing, and I know that you're probably watching, there's some people probably watching this video right now getting all kinds of pissed off that I just said that. Let me explain to you why it's not investing. The reason that it's not investing, or first of all, to paraphrase it a little bit more, or preface it a little bit more, a lot of times people throw the term around real estate investor and is a catchphrase for flippers. Look, stock market day trading is not investing, so why would flipping a home be considered investing? Day trading is the equivalent to real estate flipping property. You're in it for a short game, while understanding what investing is. Investing is actually the act of committing your money or capital to a endeavors like a business, a project, real estate, or stock market funds or something like that, with the expectation of attaining income or a profit based upon the amount of money invested. So whenever you start taking a look at flipping a property, you're more into speculation, and speculation is the practice of engaging in risky financial transactions in an attempt to profit from fluctuations in a market value. Now, if you think about it and you take a step back and you think about what flipping a property is that not engaging in a risky financial transaction in an attempt to profit from the fluctuation in market value? So if you bought the house and it was $150,000 and you want to sell it for $250,000, but you want to do this inside of 3 months, is that not trying to game the market a little bit here in your favor of obtaining that property? Of course it is. So it's important to understand that, and understand that what kind of expectations you should have of yourself and of the real estate market whenever you're choosing to either flip or actually becoming a renter, or excuse me, a landlord. So when we start taking a look at what flipping is actually a combination of speculation and working. So going back to that active income, when you've got to actually put in a lot of work to get the money. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to get paid. If you stop going to your job right now, do you think your employer is going to pay you? Of course not. You weren't there to earn the money. They're not going to pay you, right? So when you think about house flipping, it's much the same. You're speculating on the market, where the market prices are going and the market value is going to get and obtain your profit, right? But you actively have to work it. It's important to understand that. Too often flippers fail, and the reason they fail is because they're not honest with themselves about the price that they're buying these homes for, or the expectations of where the market values are headed, or what should be going on in their planning phase. Now, that being said, yes, you can make a ton of money flipping, but just to be clear, you shouldn't just say, I'm going to flip and flip and flip without having a business plan, and without understanding that what you're doing is speculating, and what you're doing is actively working it, and that you got to prepare everything. You got to have your contractors ready to go. You got to get the house at the right price. You got to be able to not sink yourself, because it's going to be a big cash up front. It's going to be cash that's coming out of your pocket while you're renovating that project, and then you got to hold that property until such a time it sells. So just as a side point here, kind of a pro tip, understand what kind of loan programs can purchase a flip property, and understand the time frame associated with how long a property has to season. For instance, a lot of FHA loans and a lot of VA type loans won't allow a buyer to purchase a flip property until the property is 90 days old. So on the 91st day is the first time they would be eligible to buy it. So in short, you'd only be opened up to cash and conventional financing at that time. Something to think about as you're planning this out realistically and writing down your business plan. So owning a rental property is investing, while flipping a property is speculating. A rental property is going to provide you with the passive income. And heck, if you don't want to be taking an active role in being a landlord, you don't have to. You just hire yourself a property manager, let them screen the tenants, let them put it in, and of course they're going to earn a commission. Generally somewhere like 10 to 12% of the monthly rental income is going to go to them. So it's something to think about. Probably going to be able to write that out for your business anyways, so it'll be able to help you out. So it's important for you to understand how you can make money in both of these areas of real estate and what they are and what they aren't. So house flipping versus renting. I know this is some of your questions right here and why you clicked on this video today. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that if you have the money to retire now, then, or you have cash, or you got a way of getting cash, then you're probably ready to start flipping. And if the answer to your question was no, that perhaps you're looking for some more passive activities that you can use right now while you're working and investing into maybe like a multifamily property or a single family rental. A lot of different kind of chances right there that you can get into. So right now it's probably best to keep your job. If you aren't in a position to retire, then go ahead and keep the job that you have and invest in real estate through becoming a landlord and building up your rental portfolio. Because if you're able to do that, then you'll be able to start getting into a way that you can actually begin flipping properties. But again, plan this out in a way that makes sense to you and your life. Because if you plan with if you're going into your job today and you say, hey, here's my 2-week notice, I'm gone in 2 weeks, I'm going to become a flipper. And you do that, you don't have the right reserves on hand to handle your financial responsibilities and handle your obligations and liabilities to your family and to yourself, that's going to be risky and pretty dicey if you're putting all your eggs in one basket. Plan it out and make sure that you're taking the right approach to it. Sometimes it's better just to take a little bit of a slower roll and begin with building up a rental portfolio first while keeping your job, so you can go into being an active flipper. Because keep in mind, that's going to be your active source of income, and it requires day in, day out work to make it work. So keep that in mind, okay? So if you quit your job to become a real estate investor, then you should probably look at flipping some property for the short term, because you have nothing else to do and you're ready to get out there and start earning some big moolah in the flipping. But you know what you're doing. Please get yourself a trusted real estate advisor in your location and ask them about rental comps. Ask them about realistic market expectations, that if you bought this house here and let's say that it's not in turnkey move-in ready condition, how much is the most that it should be able to probably sell for? Then you need to calculate out what's it going to cost you to sell it. You know, what are the real estate commissions? What are the cost of carrying? What are the costs to improve the property, to bring it up? And how much can you realistically get out of it, and how soon can you get out of it? The pros and cons of flipping, let's take a quicker look at that. So the pros and cons of flipping. Flipping is going to take you a lot of cash quick. It's going to cost a lot of cash up front. It's going to be very quick. You're going to have money towards the renovations, and it's also going to ideally get you a lot of cash. Notice the word that I said. It's ideal that you would get a lot of cash quickly. It's not always the case, so you need to be prepared for those realities. So, I mean, if you think about it, and let's kind of give you a numerical breakdown, because if you're watching this video and you're considering flipping or renting, then you're probably, I'm going to say it's probably safe to say that you like numbers and you like money in your bank, so that's probably why you like numbers, right? So if you say that you're a flipper, and let's say that each flip you earn something like $10,000 off the flip, right? And if you earn $10,000 a flip, but it took you 1 year to do it, that's $10,000 for that flip. Well, if you were working and you flipped it, then an extra 10K, that's pretty nice and it's good to have. But if you're actively out there flipping properties all the time and all you earn is $10,000, you're not going to be able to meet your responsibilities. But now let's say that you were going to increase the velocity, you're going to increase the speed of your flipping projects, and you're earning $10,000 in gross, right? And flipping these properties. You hire some subcontractors, they come in there and they cost about $6,000 a flip. If they cost $6,000 a flip, but they can get it done in a couple months, then you could flip 6 homes in a year and actually pull in a nice $36,000 of profit. So I mean, that's something to think about. In addition, with as a pro for flipping a home, is there's not going to be any long-term headaches. There's not going to be any maintenance. There's not going to be any old designs that you're going to have to renovate prior to selling the property. There's not going to be issues with worrying about neighborhood conditions and attracting the right kind of tenant or the wrong tenant, tenants doing damage, tenants not doing damage. I mean, there's not going to be any of those kind of headaches like that. If you have the time and you are able and you got the money, number one, to become a flipper, and you have a lot of spare time to manage the projects yourself on the flipping side, then you can do really good at flipping properties as well. So the opportunity cost of flipping, and it's important to understand what opportunity cost is. Opportunity cost is essentially an economic term that, in its basic and most rudimentary way of saying it, is best defined as what you give up in order to gain something else. It's what the opportunity cost of this dollar going here as opposed to going here, and the difference is the cost of that opportunity. By understanding that, then you can better understand as well what you're looking at in between becoming a landlord. Maybe that's going to be your path to being a real estate mogul, or becoming a flipper, or a little bit of a mixture of both. Now, I would definitely suggest, if you start off with the renting side of it, to build up a little bit of that passive income so you know it's always there, it's always consistent. To do that first, and then to consider getting into the flipping side of it as you have more income available to do it. Then doing so is kind of merging the best of both worlds with a hybrid approach, so that if you do want to quit your day job, you can quit your day job, but give yourself some time to learn and grow and start small first, so you don't hurt yourself trying to achieve a dream without knowing how to make that dream a reality. And the other thing that you need to consider, and the reason I said I'm not a tax professional, is there's going to be the taxes on flipping a property are going to be largely different than taxes on renting a property. There's going to be pros and cons. You kind of want to get with your tax professional and to understand, you know, what kind of tax liabilities are your income on that profit. Because let's say that profit of $36,000 from flipping a property, you're going to have to pay out 40%, because it'd be kind of like being self-employed, right? And you're going to have to pay out up to 40% if you're earning good bank. And let's say you earn $300,000, well, you're definitely going to be at that 40% bracket then. If you had to pay out $120K of your $300,000, man, that stinks and that hurts. And if you already spent that money on the next flips, then yeah, you can do some write-offs and stuff, but at the end of the day, Uncle Sam's going to get paid, and if they don't get it paid, they're going to come after you. So you got to be careful about that. Whereas a renting, it's more of it's investing, and it's like the stock market. I mean, you're going to pay a tax percentage, a tax rate based upon your investment, and it's going to be at an investment rate as opposed to like a self-employment rate. Something to consider, something to talk about with an attorney if you want to know about like structuring business or something, or something that you should discuss with your tax professional at a minimum to find out which one of these circumstances is going to work best for you. Now, understanding that the rental property is like a long-term game. Long-term game with a rental property is going to provide you with that passive income, so that whenever you get tired of your job and you're able to go into flipping properties, and you get tired of flipping properties, you're going to have these rental properties on the backside providing your passive income whenever you get ready to retire. That's the goal of all this, isn't it? It's to earn money. It's to be able to replace the income that we actively go to work for and exchange our time for the money that we earn with a way of earning more money, and ultimately not having to be so concerned about actively earning the money as opposed to having the passive money coming in. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that why you're talking about getting into real estate flipping versus renting anyways? Of course it is. So plan this out and be realistic about it, because the rental property is passive income, and it's going to give you that bottom line. Now, if you have some questions, let me know about this along the way, and as well as any kind of suggestions that you may have as far as whether you're a flipper or whether you're a landlord, and tactics that you have taken to become better at each, so that it helps. So in short, let's bring it full circle around in this video. Should you flip or should you rent? Well, ideally, it really depends on those first two questions. Number one, do you have enough money to retire? If you have enough money to retire and you already have your passive income somewhat secure right there with a known amount of money that's coming in, then use the profit, use the difference to get into real estate flipping so that it can help you out, and then plan it out and see if it's going to be right for you. Take it small. Take a small bite at it. See if it's for you. Some people get into flipping and realize, hey, this isn't right for me. I don't like it. Other people get into, oh my God, I love it. This is my passion. I eat, breathe, and sleep flipping property. If you're not in that position that you have enough money to have passive income coming in, or you can't retire now, or you need to continue actively working for your paycheck to have money to provide for yourself and your responsibilities and your family, then consider getting a rental property and start small. The reason you start small is because if you decide that it's not for you, then it's not like you put yourself out on a limb and overextended yourself. And if you didn't overextend yourself, then you can easily recover from it. Whereas if you overextend, then it's going to do some damage and you may or may not recover from it. The last thing that I want anyone to ever do is to get into flipping or renting property and then they get into their first deal and they lose their butt on it. That's not cool. So plan it out, write out a business plan, write out realistic expectations, make sure you're contacting your tax professional, your financial planner to see if you're in those circumstances and what you could do. Now, I would, going back to should you rent or should you flip a property, you should probably have a little bit of a hybrid approach. If you get into becoming a landlord with rental properties and you find that you like it, and you find that you're enjoying that passive income and that you have worked on a process and became exceptionally well at becoming a landlord, and that's the key thing there. You want to do one aspect, become exceptionally good at it, and then look at the other aspect of it and become exceptionally well at it as well. So if you started with that landlord approach, then we're already securing your retirement and short with having that passive income going to be there for you in the future, so that you can start doing some of the speculation with the things that have the higher volatility and also the possible higher risk to either lose but also gain if you do it right. Having it planned out and taking that hybrid approach. So having it in your mind, okay, I'm working now, I'm going to get a rental property here, and I'm going to save up this money here, I'm going to save up some money from my active job that I have now, and I'm going to start another account so I can get into real estate flipping. And then you get into real estate flipping and you say, hey, yeah, I like this. I'm doing well at this now that I don't have to work this job anymore. Then you might want to tender your 2-week resignation whenever you can replace what the active income is coming into your bank account with the flipping income and have that baseline passive income from your rental properties coming in. Now, what I'd like you to do is to tell me what you're thinking about this video. Whether flipping or renting is best. Tell me which point in this video was the best for you, which took away from the most. Was it asking yourself those 2 questions up front? Was it the reality that flipping isn't investing? Was it the reality that it's a good idea to have passive income in the form of rental properties before getting into flipping? Tell me what was the most important thing to you and what you like best and how you're going to use it going forward in the comment section below. If you haven't already done so, or rather before I get there, let's go ahead and put my contact information up. And if you have some questions, you have some tips, you got some stuff you want to share, whether they're websites that no malicious software, no malicious links, please. But if you have some ideas or a source that we can go to get better forms for calculations or how you calculate it and how you're determining whether it's better to flip or whether it's better to rent, and both of your cash flow statements and your calculators for each of those, let me know. I'm happy to put them in the video. If you send them to me in the comment section, guess what? I'm going to give you a nice little shout out, letting everybody know to give you props and kudos for that. So if you haven't already done so, now I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. Number 1, please subscribe to this channel. Number 2, please like this video. Number 3, please share this video around with someone you know is going to be able to help. Thank you so much for watching today. Between now and next time, I'm wishing you and yours a lifetime full of love, wealth, abundance, and happiness. See you soon.